college football all day. It's a Football Friday right here on The Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It is a Football Friday, which means Hans and I shut our mouth and let the legends do their thing. Alema, Harrington, Ron McBride. We're live here at El Matador, 606 South Main Street in Bountiful. Come by, hang out with us. We have given away the gift card. I do have one more we'll give away in the 2 o'clock hour, so keep listening for your chance to win. Alema, how you doing, by the way?
I'm doing fantastic, man. When I found out we were here at El Matador, I was like, let's go.
Yeah,
love this place.
This is the place. Coach Mack, how are you doing?
Good, yeah.
Yeah, life's okay?
Coach, you look good.
Yeah, well,
You're on the mend?
I'm gaining ground.
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
Good, because you had a pretty bad cough the last time we talked to you.
Yeah, I get it.
You're kicking that thing pretty good, though.
I don't know. Day by day. Lloyd called me 3 times. Say, are you coughing? I said, no, I'm not.
Coach, be honest. I said, how are you feeling? How are you doing, Coach?
Okay.
I'm talking about you. How you doing?
Yeah, thank you,
Well,
Lloyd.
and then Lloyd's like, you better get your butt down to that show or we're going to have problems.
Did he threaten you?
No,
Like, if you're not there, we've got problems?
well, no, he's been very kind.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a surprise. That doesn't sound like the Lloyd I know.
No,
Well,
that's not our Lloyd.
He's the head guy now, so.
Hey, Coach Mack, what can we get you out here? You want some enchiladas? You want some red sauce, some green sauce? What can we get you here at El Matador?
Phew, man.
What's your favorite Mexican
I was
go-to?
thinking about it when I came up here.
Because you knew.
I did.
Yeah,
Me
you
too.
knew.
My mouth is watering right now. I'm ready to go.
I tell you, I always told the story about when I used to eat here with Majerus, and it was a joke, because everything was a la carte, and it would last for 3 or 4 hours, and you'd be so full when you left. And he hadn't eaten his dessert yet. I said, I think I'll pass on dessert. I've got to go. He said, no, you got to stay for dessert. And that was just another, everything was rolling around.
Did you get along with Rick Majerus?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was very good. He and I were very good friends.
There's some people that had a hard time with him up there.
Most.
Well, yeah, oh, yeah. Well, he's an interesting dude, but he was.
Did he really live in a hotel? Is that
Yeah,
true?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hotel in Utah.
The one person he was scared of was Vicky. So Vicky used to always, she'd say, Rick, no, don't go there. That's not.
That would shut him up pretty quick, huh?
Yeah, he was great when she was in the hospital. He came, brought flowers and everything. And Vicky says, what's Rick doing here? I said, I don't know, he came to see you.
Has Vicky been your biggest asset in your life, Coach? She's been the best decision you've made, hasn't she?
Yeah, well, yeah. Without her, it'd be
chaos.
Darn right.
yeah.
Where did you meet her, and how long ago?
I met her in college,
San Jose State or?
Yes, I was riding my bike down the street with this kid,
Yeah.
and she was walking to school. And so I said, hey, can I help you with your books?
Nice, Coach. That's
Yeah.
smooth.
That's a great line.
That's a great line.
Very smooth.
And the rest is history.
Vicky! Come over here.
Is that Coach
That's
Mack
from
yelling?
last week. Or no, 2 weeks ago we were at Tim Dowley.
Yeah.
And Vicky
And
came
Vicky
in.
showed up.
Yeah.
Oh. Was she mad or
No.
Oh, okay, everything was good.
No, she was just here to pick him up.
I love the fact, though, that you've had a marriage where you bought a house sight unseen and didn't even tell Vicky about it.
Oh, absolutely. I did. The one up in Crestline, yeah. Yeah, that was.
Is that the one where you woke up and you were floating on in water? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach Mack, you've got 4 dudes hanging on the headset. Todd's on the headset with Alema, Scotty, and I. All of us married, amazing women, hoping to get to that level of marriage success that you've been at. Give us your best advice for a happy marriage as you get into the 30s and 40 years. of
Well,
marriage.
we're 65.
Ooh.
But, hey, but I was looking the other day. So we moved like 21 times.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And,
Probably before you were the age of 50.
yeah, I think maybe 55. Yep.
What have you
The
made?
last one was maybe when I left Kentucky, came back to Utah.
So you stayed in the same house in Utah when you went to Weber State, and you stayed in that same house?
No,
Oh.
no, we when we first left, we rented it out to a bunch of GAs at Utah, Gino, Nickram, and that group. And then second time, she put it up, and then changed her mind, and then called the realtor and said, "Hey, I don't want to. It's too bad. It's going to cost you 9% or whatever." Yeah,
To cancel the sale?
yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So
That won't go well. Vicky will get that. If Vicky doesn't take care of it, you got daughters that'll take care of it.
yeah. So anyways, so we ended up selling that house, and then when we came back from Kentucky, we bought a house up in the canyon, and I lived with the priest and in the dorms up in Weber. So it was kind of, it was like, I guess the reason every seemed like every 3 years we were moving, right? And,
So you didn't give her time to second guess being married to you?
no, she just no, she was good, just everybody did kind of what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So are you giving the advice to us that we should continually move? Is that,
Well, I don't.
or just keep it adventurous?
A lot of coaches' wives are not into that. So you see a lot of divorces. You see a lot of, because, yeah, everybody likes security.
Oh, yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
women like to know where their men are.
Yeah.
And they like to be with them.
Security, stability.
Well, yeah, no
It's a
worry.
tough gig. Being married to a coach is a tough gig.
Yeah, and so, especially if there's change, in this profession, you're not going to stay someplace probably for a long time unless you're really lucky.
How crazy is Morgan Scalley's situation where he hasn't had to move?
Well, the guys at Utah are very fortunate.
Yeah.
Because Kyle is stable, and the defensive coaches are stable. The offensive side has changed, several times over a period of years. But the defensive guys have stayed pretty much in the family. And it's been really good because, Morgan
hit the job lottery. didn't
Oh,
he?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? So when there was a pivotal point there when they hired John Pease as the coordinator, and I think that was the job at that time that Morgan wanted. But I think Kyle said, "Well, you can learn from John. He'll help you to be a better coach." And I think that was a really good move on Kyle's part because John helped Morgan get stabilized. And then when he hired Gary as kind of an advisor and an advisory, I think Gary helped Morgan. And Morgan is really solid. I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing, why he's doing it, what things he has to do it. So he is totally ready to be a head coach and totally ready to take control because he understands how all of it works.
Hans and I know a couple guys that went off of the Utah State staff last year and went to Oklahoma State. And you're thinking, you're going to be on Mike Gundy's staff. That's got to be safe. We can settle in a little bit and be okay. And then, boom, he's gone. This job that you guys choose, it can get turned upside down in a matter of weeks.
So I had talked to Charlie Dickey. He had been on Gundy's staff for a long time. And so I called him, he said, "Yeah, I got fired, because they let go a lot of a lot
offensive.
of people. Yeah. And he said, but I got a better job.
Oh.
And so he went to Ohio State.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So,
As an advisory or?
Yeah, as assistant offensive line coach. And so it was, it just worked out for Charlie. Now, how it worked out for everybody else, you don't know. But at that time, Gundy was trying to save his job. And then whatever they did, this product hasn't been good.
Nope.
And they said, and he'd been there a long time. And then
Were you a little surprised, though, that they fired him? Even then?
nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know Hey, what's up, bud? How you been?
He's coming in to get some Skittles.
What are you?
Alema, did you ever think about coaching?
No.
Where are you going?
I'm not a great football mind.
Are you done?
I think you look at the guys that are good as coaches, and certainly recruiting is a huge part of it. You got to be able to recruit, but I have a basic understanding of football. I can talk football, there's no question, and I know enough to be dangerous on television. But if you wanted me to come in and actually coach, and it's a difficult thing. And number two, similar to our business, and you're talking about Morgan Scally, how fortunate he is to be in one place, because that is not the norm. All three of us can make that same claim. I've been in Hawaii, and I've been here. You guys have been here.
Yep.
You look at the guys that do our jobs, right, and they've been, to Boise and Montana and
Small town in Alaska.
right?
Yeah.
They've been all over the place and working their way up, through that pecking order. I'm so blessed that I've only worked in Hawaii, which was my home, and then Utah was my second home. And for you guys, to be able to do this and not have had to uproot your family, and because similarly, people in our industry are doing that, especially when they're coming up and looking for that job that's going to provide the stability.
Well,
It was never I never had even with my kids as they're playing football. I can go out and help them, but to be a coach, man, that's a tough gig. It is a tough gig.
And I'll tell you, like in your profession, it's an abrupt change.
Yeah.
Like you could be working one day, and then all of a sudden, somebody else buys the deal.
Oh yeah.
And you get and you got a week's notice, you're done.
Yeah. Same thing, for a coach, you got an athletic director or a president, and for us, we have a news director, and your news director can change. The news director changes, and maybe you're not number one, and they're trying to, jockey for position in that marketplace, and they make some changes. They want to bring in their own guys. I've seen that happen plenty of times in our industry. So, everybody's looking for that stability, and we've been blessed to be able to have it here.
It's kind of like what they did at Fresno, with Timmy. He did a nice job at Fresno State. Okay, they hired a new AD. The new AD wanted his own guy. So even though Timmy had a good year a year ago, when they interviewed him, they never even gave him a legitimate interview. It was like, okay, we got these questions. They didn't pay much attention to him. Because I talked to him, I said, how was your interview? He said, well, it's kind of like I was a non-factor.
It's like they just had to do it, so let's get it over with and get you.
Yeah, in other words, we get, we'll interview you, but we're not going to give you this job.
Yeah.
And it's too bad because, he was invested, played there, was a Fresno guy, all that stuff. But that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Coach Mack, have you heard anything or talked to anybody about this this Utah State athletic director that they just hired?
Who did they hire?
Cameron Walker. He was at Tennessee for a long time. Started at UVU, played baseball at Rick's, and then went to Southern Virginia. UVU to Central Florida with Danny White.
Right.
And then Danny, when he went to Tennessee, Danny brought him with him.
Well, Danny White is a very good friend of the AD, the interim AD. And they're in that same, and Danny White's very powerful.
Oh yeah.
In that world, and Danny White is a very good friend of my son-in-law, and that group. It goes back to Arizona State, back to those days, but.
Yeah, you can come in and take a picture with
take a
Coach.
picture there.
Alema, have you heard much about this new AD?
No.
Yeah. I honestly, I came away, and I've met him a few times, super impressed with him.
Yeah.
I think that they needed some stability, and I'm going to pull some cuts from the coaches show with Bronco for next week, and where he said that, well, he was actually talking about Sandy. Your daughter is her agent.
Yeah, Sandy Beveridge, yeah.
And he was saying that with her and now with this new AD, that it's night and day, that there's no drama, there's no politics, and it was a little bit of a shot at what was going on before there.
Right.
And but he was open and honest about how, like, okay, it feels like things have just kind of settled in at Utah State, and if they can get into a group, and Bronco's got those guys playing really hard.
Oh, I tell you what, now Bronco is a no BS guy.
Ooh, you were not a kid.
I mean, he's a business guy, and he's a very serious guy. He's not a funny guy. He's I can remember I'm in the airport with him in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
And they're recruiting the linebacker, the Polynesian kid. Right?
Manti Te'o.
Manti Te'o. And he says to me, and Manti Te'o is the hottest thing in the world, right? He says to me, if he takes another trip, we're dropping him. I said, Bronco, come on, dude. I said, it's recruiting. He said, I told him, if you take another trip, BYU's dropping you. And he took his trip to Notre Dame, and
that was it.
That was it.
Bronco held to his word.
Bronco, yeah. I said, Bronco, you're in the mix. You're right there. Kid's committed to you. You just got to play the game. No, I'm not playing the game.
Wow. Well, look at this game that he played when he came into Utah State. His most productive defensive player. He was like, how are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where's your work ethic? Well, Coach, I'm good. Look at my tackles. Look what I've done since I've been here in Logan. Has Ike Larson even played this year?
He is not. And there's some conversation about whether or not he's even working out with the team. I think he wants to come back. It's just a matter of whether Bronco wants him to or not.
He doesn't mess around.
No.
Coach, if you're going in and you're taking over a product, don't you look at the most productive pieces of the product and say, well, we've got to have that to get started? I mean, I got to make sure that my shop is full of good things, and this is one of my good things.
So I can remember when
he just doesn't care.
Harbaugh first took the job at Michigan, and one of the real good starters came in and said, we need to kind of do this, and I might quit the team or whatever if we don't do this, and Broncos and Harbaugh said, bye-bye, bye-bye. And then I see the kid a couple of weeks later in the cafeteria, right? And he says, hey, how can I get back on the team? I said, dude, I said, I hardly know this group. And I said, the only thing you can do is go talk to the head coach, but I don't think he's going to change. He said, but I'm a star. I said, you were a star.
Yeah.
What ended up happening with him?
He could.
Yeah, but did he go somewhere else?
Yeah, he went somewhere else.
Did he make a name for himself? Did he ever prove Harbaugh wrong?
No, I don't know. But and then he had another guy that was really a good player. They got in some trouble, right? Same thing. He's sitting there saying, I'm suspended. I said, yeah, what did you do? I did this. Well, that's why you're suspended. He said, hey, I'm an All-American. I said, look, dude, do you want to play here or not? If you want to play here, you're going to have to go by his rules, not your rules. And the guy says, I got you, Coach. So, and then he ended up having a great career at Michigan. Went to, I think he's still playing in the league.
Wow.
Those are some necessary things.
Yeah, yeah.
You got setting that culture.
You got to set a tone. There's no doubt.
Sometimes, you
It'd be so hard. It's easier said than done.
It is, especially if you got a star player that everybody, now you're getting pressure from everybody else. Like, what are you doing? Like,
how dare you handle it like this?
But you have to set the tone and establish your culture. And
well, I look at like the guys that do fit in with Broncos culture. Miles Davis does not look like the Miles Davis.
Yeah.
Look, I had a lot of positive things to say about Miles Davis, his athleticism. But his usage rate was so low at BYU.
Yeah.
I don't know if Aaron Roderick didn't trust him or if he didn't work as hard for Harvey Unga. I don't know. But he's a different product than Logan.
Yeah.
He is a beast in Logan.
And the fact is, Bronco doesn't care about star ratings. He doesn't care about any of that. What he does is he looks at a kid, and he was telling me a story about how when he was at Virginia, he would take these kids and put them on a horse.
Yeah.
And they would ride around on a horse, and how the kid would react to getting into a saddle for a first time would go a long ways in how he was evaluating that player.
What?
Yeah. He said, like, how he handled himself on a horse made me realize, like, if he was freaking out, and he had the parents there as well, and if the parents were like, don't do that, get off of there, then he's like, okay, well, the parents are going to be a little too heavy-handed, so we're a little nervous about that, and he would evaluate a lot about how he saw, not whether or not he was a good rider or not, but just what his attitude was.
But a lot of things that are kind of intangibles that you might not be able to decipher just by having the kid out on the field. By the way, when we had our meeting with Bronco Mendenhall getting ready for McNeese State, and he was talking about Miles Davis and Miller, the linebacker.
Yeah.
He said both of those guys at the beginning, when Bronco first got there, he said those guys were not going to see the field. They were so far away from contributing to this team, and he said I had very hard, frank conversations with them, and they both went to work. And I'm sure he had some hard, frank conversations with some other guys that didn't follow in line and say, okay, coach, I'm going to do that, and that are no longer with the program or with the program not seeing the field. But Bronco has always been like that. The Manti Te'o situation does not surprise me because Bronco has always been, and this has been his recruiting, approach. We want the guys that want us. So if you remember, every year after the recruiting class announcement, he's like, we got all the guys we wanted. I said, how is that? What? What are you talking about? He said, because the guys that we got are the guys that want to be here. And that's more important than any of the stars behind the guy's name or whether he's a transfer that has a resume, any of that stuff. None of that stuff matters. Does he want to be here? And if he does, then we can work with that.
Yep.
I'll give you just my angle because he did recruit and offer Rock. In fact, he was the second offer that came in on Rock.
Yeah.
Washington State was first. New Mexico was second.
Yeah.
And that I remember getting the offer, and I said, look, Rock, New Mexico's a really good option because if Bronco stays, they're going to win.
Yeah.
And then I told Rock, but you also have to understand that if you commit to Bronco, it's a totally different aspect.
Especially in this day and age when commitments are, kind of willy-nilly.
This is a full mind, body, and spirit commitment. And at the time when he was in New Mexico, I was talking with an assistant coach, and the assistant coach was like, he still runs an honor code.
Yeah.
And I said, really? He goes, he runs an honor code. If you're a member, you're expected to live a certain standard. Like he's still running honor codes where he's at.
Wow.
And he expects certain standards. So when Rock and I, when we were talking about it, Rock was really intrigued by New Mexico. And because there was, turmoil at Washington State, we didn't know what exactly was going to happen there. Then when Bronco left New Mexico and came to Utah State, he honored the offer.
Yeah.
And Rock was like, geez, this is almost like a sent from heaven type of match. The Olsen legacy in Logan, a coach that was one of the first to give me love and offer, and it was just a perfect fit. But the thing was, I told Rock, I said, if that's what you're going to do with Bronco, you call Bronco right now, and you tell him no, because other teams were coming in. And you say, no, I'm committed to you, because the sooner you commit to Bronco, the more he commits to you.
Yeah.
And so I was able to help him on the other end of who Bronco is. But the thing is, Alema, I know when Rock comes back from his mission and goes plays for a Bronco, like I know what Rock will be.
Yeah.
Whether he's good at football or good at business management, or he wants to run his own guiding service, whether he goes to Florida and starts a fly service or something.
Yeah.
I know he's going to be good at it. So I think that's a good thing for Bronco and Logan.
I had this conversation with Bronco many years ago, and I use this when I speak to youth groups sometimes, and it's about commitment, how important commitment is. And this was when Bronco first started at BYU. It was kind of in the era where the vocabulary was changing in college football. And there was, on Max Preps or wherever they post these things, this guy is a verbal commit. This guy is there was actually a term, soft commit. Remember this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was having this conversation with Bronco. He's like, there's commit. You're committed or you're not. It's like, I don't take verbal commitments. I don't deal with soft commitments. I deal with commitments. And I think that's a great message to send any young player, that is coming up. It's like, understand this, that your commitment means something. And I love that Bronco established that early on, and that was just the bottom line. It's like, you're either committed or you're not. So to the point of Manti Te'o, coming to BYU and, being interested and soft commit, if you will, but I'm still going to go on my other trips. That's not committed. That's not committed.
Yeah.
What's funny is, being in this market for as long as all of us have.
Yeah.
I'll admit, like, when Bronco came onto the scene in that first press conference at BYU, and we were all kind of chuckling, like, what is this? What is
with
this?
The scripture references.
This shtick that he's doing and all of this stuff. And we all had a good laugh at it. And now that I'm a dad of older kids that are in their teenage years or into their 20s and going into the world, I'm like, that's the kind of guy I want my kids to be around.
Yes.
Your whole mindset changes because you're like, okay, I get it now. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it totally makes sense. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All college football all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is a Football Friday. We are out and about today as we are live here at El Matador. Would love for you to come on by here, 606 South Main Street. And remember, hey, it's the holiday season coming up here, and if you need help catering your event, they can help you out as well. Stress-free holiday season. They've got enchilada, burritos, all served with rice and beans, chips, and salsa, shredded cheese. It'll serve 6 to 8 people, or you can customize it to how many people you have. They're here to help you out. I love what they do here at El Matador. All right, Alema, West Virginia tonight.
Yes.
Is it going to be a old-fashioned butt kicking?
I hope it is. You walk into games like this, and the last thing you want to do is to walk in and be overconfident. Oh, it's Utah. Took them to the shed and beat them, and that they're not very good, and they got a redshirt freshman quarterback that they'll probably start tonight. They got all kinds of holes in their program right now. But if you're BYU, I think we all understand this. If you don't go in focused, any team can beat you. I don't anticipate that's going to happen. I think the BYU will be focused. I'm not sure if, the beginning of the Colorado game, they were dialed in the way that they needed to be. And even the comments from Kalani after the game, which was, we needed that. We needed that type of challenge and adversity as a group, maybe to galvanize us a little bit. And we talk about this all the time, that, rarely do you learn lessons in a win. And you're fortunate if you can learn some lessons and pull out the victory, which I think is what happened for BYU against Colorado. Typically, you don't learn the lessons until you lose, and it's like, okay, now we got to take a hard look at what's going on. And for BYU to be able to have that situation where you come out of their hostile environment and a lot of stuff going on, but you were able to come out with the victory, but you're not coming out of that victory saying, oh, we don't have to look at all the things that happened, our poor tackling in the first quarter or any of that stuff because we won the game. Like, they're going to look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's a big teaching tool.
And on a short week, you might need even, more to kind of get you dialed in and focused as quickly as possible because you're playing tonight. So,
Well, first of all, Colorado had a good game plan in the first quarter.
yeah.
They were going two backs. BYU's running their slant defense, which is a penetrating defense. All you got to do is make sure you got the gaps taken care of in your scheme, and your creases are going to be there. And the creases were there.
Mm-hmm.
BYU adjusted in the second quarter, went back to a little more of a standard defense, less slanting. Colorado got away from their game plan.
Yeah.
And started being a little more conventional, try to throw the ball, make big plays, which was a mistake on their part. And then if Colorado would have stayed with their original game plan and picked up the lateral slanters, they would have still been in good shape.
Yeah.
And then the key at the end, obviously, was the fact that BYU won the fourth quarter. The pin punt was a huge call because they're looking whether they're going to kick a field goal or punt.
Or even go for the first.
Yeah, and the decision they made was a great decision. I'm looking at them saying, don't kick the field goal. I'm saying,
You were thinking punt and pin, Coach?
yeah, I'm thinking punt all the way.
It would have been a 52-yard field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And,
Which is very makeable for him.
Yeah, very makeable.
but I'm thinking at the time.
But that would have put you up by 6.
Yeah.
And they would have still had possession to go for 7.
But then you put them, luckily the kid makes a great punt.
Yeah.
And then then you get into a turnover margin, and then, Fast Jack makes a play, and the other guy makes a play, and game's over. But, that was.
So you would have called the punt and pin there.
Yeah.
Even though Will Farron's he's probably
because
80% from that.
I'm sitting there watching the game. I'm saying to myself, punt the ball.
That's why you're a coach.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, the offensive coordinator, he probably wants to go for it.
The special teams guys kick the field goal.
Special teams guy probably going to kick field, and then.
So that had to have been Kalani's call.
Yeah, Kalani had the final say, and I think Jay and the defensive guys agreed because in their comments back to me, how about the pin punt? That was what came out of their mouth first thing, the pin punt. I said, yeah, it all worked out.
Executed to perfection.
Yeah.
Cody Hangen was off the gun and just took off like he's running a deep post. And Vanderhaar put it 1.5 miles in the air because they were basically punting off West Virginia's 40, 45?
Yeah, about there.
Or there.
Yeah.
Puts it way up in the air. And Cody Hagan runs right under it, brings it down on the 4-yard line. Like that, to execute that.
Beautiful execution.
That's not. Correct me if I'm wrong, Coach. That's a tough one to execute, is it not?
I'm telling you what, you got to give the punter a lot of credit, the cover guys a lot of credit, because they made the play when they needed to.
Because I was watching an NFL team the next day that punted off their opponent's 48, and he put it in the back of the end zone. And it was like, oh, well, your NFL punters and NFL special teams can't execute that every time.
Hey, you're getting, like, in the NFL, you're getting PAT field goals blocked. And it should never happen.
Yeah.
And return for 2.
Yeah. And all of it changes the complex of the game.
All right, we'll take a break. Try to get back on clock here. Hans and Scotty, but more importantly, Alema Harrington, Ron McBride, live at El Matador right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All college football all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Garrard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, a lot of great high school games tonight. Where are you at?
We got the Harriman game tonight.
Yeah.
So Harriman versus Mountain Ridge. Harriman is undefeated. They're ranked in the 6A.
Yeah.
Outside of Region 3, they're probably the best team. So their region's not as competitive as Region 3 is, obviously. Last night we did Skyridge versus Lone Peak.
Can you really quick recap that for me?
Ends up going to double overtime.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, shout out to Bountiful. They've got Alta tonight. Bountiful should win that big.
By the way, I'm streaming that game on ApolloStreams.com.
Okay.
So that'll and we're also doing every Orem game this year on Apollo Streams. So you got plenty of streaming options these days. It's wild and it's awesome because you get a chance not just for us to watch the games, but for these kids to have some good highlights that they can throw on their huddle.
Right.
Film or whatever.
Different angle.
Yeah. But last night,
double overtime.
Got off to a slow start, 0-0 after one quarter. Then Skyridge ends up going down, I want to say 10 or 14-0 or 10-0, I think it was at halftime. And then all of a sudden, Lone Peak or Skyridge ends up coming back. Lincoln Tahi, who is Fahu Tahi's son, he's a senior at Skyridge.
That makes me
and
feel
last
old.
night was senior night for Skyridge. But he's fantastic out of the backfield. He's got soft hands. I think he had over 200 yards total offense, a mixture between his running and receiving.
That's Fahu Tahi's son?
That's Fahu Tahi's son. Then,
wasn't Fahu coaching like at Bountiful or something?
No, he was. Well, he may have been at Bountiful. He was actually over at Bingham. And Lincoln Tahi was playing at Bingham last year.
And then moved. Okay.
And then Sean Tahi, who is Fahu's brother's son, is the starting running back for Lone Peak. So you had two Tahis in the backfield, but one on each side. And then Keneal Sweetwine, I've done several of his games since his sophomore season. And mostly, last year when he was a junior and started to make some waves. And, he's got great size. He's 6'4", 205 pounds. But he's a good passer. And last night he showed what a great runner he is. And hard to bring down. And so when you had that combination where they established, speaking of Skyridge, established that ground game with Keneal Sweetwine along with Lincoln Tahi, then it kind of opened things up. Now on the other side for Lone Peak, you got Kenan and Jaron Pula. Those guys are phenomenal, right? And Kepa Niometolu, who was at Alta and now is at Lone Peak, he's been injured. So Cruz Christensen, who's their backup quarterback, has actually played way more over the last 2 years than Kepa Niometolu has. And he's a great quarterback. He ended up 300 yards passing.
Oh, my gosh.
A lot of that ended up going to, I think it was Jaron Pula was because we've done games between the two of them, Kenan and Jaron. They're about even in their stats, but, one game it's Jaron, one game it's Kenan. And last night, like an 83-yard touchdown pass from Christensen to Jaron Pula.
How far in the air? How much did in the air? How much was after catch?
I would say 50 yards in the air.
Okay, so he can bomb it.
Pula had to readjust with the ball in the air and take it back outside, catching it over his off shoulder. Made a great catch. He had several great catches in that game. But that was an 80-plus yard touchdown. And then ends up getting tied. Goes down to the final, under a minute to play. Tie game. Lone Peak has the ball. They're about they're at about Skyridge's 25-yard line. And we're all thinking
field goal. Yeah.
Just you keep the ball in the middle, keep the ball on the ground, manage the clock. You still got timeouts. And they end up throwing an interception in the end zone with I think 3 seconds left on the clock
in the end zone.
And I'm we're all scratching our heads like, why would you do that?
You had it.
Yeah, you had
Burn it and kick it.
Now you may miss the field goal, and the field goals weren't guaranteed last night in that game. And then I think to that point, maybe Lone Peak had the momentum, and then now you're tied. You're going to overtime, and the home team's got the momentum, and they had established the ground game. And so the first overtime, Skyridge went, I think, maybe a pass to Tahi, and then a run from Sweet Wine, and then another run from Tahi, and then they end up
High
scoring.
school overtime is college overtime?
Yeah. So the first overtime, both teams get opportunities, and you got to match. Second overtime, you got to go for two, right? Second overtime and beyond. So first overtime, come out tied. Both teams score touchdowns. Second overtime, Skyridge's defense comes up with a big play. Lone Peak has to settle for a field goal, and now Skyridge just has to put the ball in the end zone. And same thing, run the ball between Sweet Wine, the quarterback, and Tahi, the running back, and then Tahi ends up with a 15-yard touchdown run.
And ends it. That's a big win for Skyridge.
And I found Fahu after the game. I said, man, this, and this as a dad of a football player, is like, that's the kind of game that you just wish your kid will have.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments, and I was just, and especially on senior night, I was like, good for you.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
good for Fahu.
Yeah.
We're live here at El Matador in Bountiful. By the way, that was just our quick segment, Coach. Next segment, we're going to go nothing but Utah. I promise.
Hey, I'll tell you, you guys.
Look at
What's
this.
up?
We got legendary
Yes,
status
we-
here.
Oh, my
But
God.
we're live
We got
here.
royalty in the house.
97.5, the EKSL Sports Zone.